So I left you with the CAD models all done, and here I am in the slicer preparing the G code for the 3D printer. This was the result of the print. Nothing fantastic, just a straightforward copy. So with them I quickly sanded them off, sprayed them with filler primer, and again sanded them off. I tend to use a diamond file. I've got a set of them for doing this kind of work. I mean, you can use sandpaper or anything, but I just find they can get into the nooks and crannies that other places struggle. That's all 4 cleaned up and ready for some casting now. So we have our 4 parts, 2 lefts, 2 rights, and they've all been painted, sanded and smoothed up, and they're as good as they're going to need to be now. And what I'm going to do is powder them and then ram them up. So I'm going to powder them outside because otherwise it just gets a mess in here. So that's the next step. So I've got my 4 parts in there, and I've got the start of my gate, which is just a generic gate that I use, and I've set it out like this because when I turn it over I'm going to put in a couple of risers, 2 risers to feed both ones. I want to try and keep shrinkage this at absolute minimum. I have increased the diameter by about 3% on all angles, so it should be, even with a bit of shrinkage, good to go, but I want to try and keep them as best I can. So I'm going to ram it up. When I finish these parts, my mate's got them. He's going to sandblast them before fitting. The reason for that is to make him look aged. Well, dimensionally I need them bang on accurate because obviously that's actually got the caps itself that these go with. So accurate wise they need to be good. Finish wise it doesn't matter if it's just a little bit pitted, because it's just going to add to the aged look. So I'm really not too fussed, as long as they come out of the moulds reasonably clean I'm going to be happy. Now the reason I just wipe my hand around the edges here is when you're ramming it up against a board, sometimes you can actually just lift your drag or cope depending which way you're doing it. And it's always better just to quickly run your finger around the edge of it, just make sure that it's not going to affect the other half of the mould when you put it back together. Now I could put channels in for gates and runners and all that kind of stuff, but I find doing so many one-off parts, it's just no point. It's easier just for me just to do the gates and runners afterwards. Oh, now there's a message for you. So off camera I'm just powdering the riser before I put it in place. I've had these risers years now. To be honest, they really hardly need any powdering at all, they're so good. I had a bit of trouble finding the end of my pattern here for the sprue to go. There we are. Right, usual thing, ram it all up. Now I'm just going to chuck a bit of parting powder down in the holes before I strike it off, or strickle it off if you want to be precise about it. Is it just me, or does that look like a face? Now, as I said before, the faces, this face here and this face here are dead upright. So when I'm pulling them, what was that one? Yeah, that one. I'm lifting them out just slightly that way, so away from me on this case, and this one will be towards me. Now there are formulas for doing sizes, runners and gates and all that kind of stuff, but I don't use them. The main thing is, don't make your gates and runners so large that they require aluminium as they cool down, and actually draw aluminium out your part, because that's really the worst thing. Here I'm using 2 risers, so it isn't so critical because the risers are designed to feed the parts. And you see here I'm just going to add a little bit of extra filleting towards the risers just to help feed that extra aluminium in, just keep it pushed up. Blow them off, get them cleaned up, pop them down. Now I haven't done a cast in 6-8 months maybe, so I am feeling a bit rusty this time. I was waiting for it to talk to me. Silence, nothing, not a peep out of him.
still quite hot, so I'm not
clearly going to speak much because I'm probably going to have the heat stroke.
but you can see the kind of detail that I don't know if I can see it or not. Yeah, even though that I sanded that off, even though I filed it down, smoothed it up, painted it and did that again, and it felt real nice and smooth to the touch, I could tell these rib bits were a little bit, still coarse, but that I expected. But you can imagine how much print detail it still picks up. Oh, they're pretty good. A little bit of inclusion on that one there, but hopefully that's not. Yeah, it's just a little bit of shit that got in there. That's fine. Not too bad. Not too bad, considering I haven't casted in. I haven't done a cast in ages now, so a little bit rusty. But they come out good. So tomorrow I'll get the old bandsaw going and I'll cut them off to a bit of post processing and job done. Off to my mate.
So there you have it, the final parts from plastic to aluminium, all done. So these are the parts as the step through the mould and the final items. Now I was more than happy with these, and I know my mate definitely was when I showed him. He was over the moon with them. So there you go, another project done. See you next time.